AI is going to redefine the insurance brokerage world by creating a better customer experience and creating a better experience for the broker or the agent themselves, because they're going to have less to do on the back end with the service work because AI is going to answer it. And the problem that you run into with a lot of brokers is they don't have enough time. They're trying to make money on the front end, which in insurance, you don't make a lot of money up front. Typically, you're making between 10 and 20% of the entire year's policy up front, which sounds cool, but it's literally like $160 per bind if you're talking about a homeowner's policy. Maybe like $250 that you make, and that's for the year on that policy. So you have to sell a lot of these policies to end up making a good amount. Like you gotta sell like 100 policies a month to be able to actually generate revenue that's going to sustain you. If you want 10,000 a month, you're gonna have to sell 100 policies at 160. That's 16,000, but you gotta sell between 50 and 75 policies to really make anything good the first couple years. After that, residuals kick in. If you can maintain your clientele in the back end, you're gonna be fine. You can spend a little bit more time on the back end with that service work to maintain those customers. But what's going to happen with this is AI is going to replace the service work mostly. You still have to take care of a lot of it as a licensed agent. You're going to have to answer specific questions based on that policy and coverages and things like that. But the AI trained by you, the licensed broker, looking at the policy is going to be able to answer basic questions like, hey, when's my policy due? The payment due? How much is my policy? What are my coverages? And then you as the agent can go in and explain what those coverages do for the client. If they have an accident or they have a claim that they have to file, you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to take care of that and help them from that standpoint, building better relationships on that end. And you'll be to free you up to say, hey, happy birthday. How are you doing this year? Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. Is everything okay? You have any new kids? Is your family growing? And you can really get to know your clients that way. So with AI, it's going to take care of the tedious, mundane things that you really don't want to talk about with your clients anyways, because it's just dry and it doesn't build that relationship. And your clients, quite frankly, don't really want to talk to you about it either, because it's just boring stuff that they're like, oh, I have to take care of this insurance thing, so let me go in and do it, and let me only talk to them about this. We all want to build better relationships. Humans are connectors. We like to be with people. We like to talk to people. We like to socialize. We like to get out and actually get to know what's happening in somebody else's life. We like to tell people what's going on in our lives. So what's really cool about that is we can use the AI to take care of that stuff that doesn't really add anything to that relationship, and we can grow and scale our business with people that we actually enjoy picking up the phone for. That's where I see AI taking this, is taking that boring stuff that nobody wants to talk about, the agent or the client, replacing that, and then allowing relationships to grow and flourish, and allowing the agency owner to scale bigger and faster, and in turn stay around a lot longer to take care of those people that you're building relationships with. So that's really where I see AI taking the insurance world, and it's going to be amazing. And we're not even talking about the back end with the carriers where they can do analytics and they can start really being more profitable because they have AI taking care of some of their own customer service work, or even interacting with agency owners or agents to help them do a better job at what they're doing and explaining coverages. They can put together better trainings. AI is just absolutely going to revolutionize the insurance world as a whole. There's no question about it. So how can AI-driven analytics revolutionize marketing strategies? Man, this is crazy. So with AI, it's not just the analytics that's going to change with your marketing strategy. It's going to do outreach. It's going to say, hey, prospect, I saw you were looking at the insurance quotes, and do you have any questions? And then it's going to answer basic questions that don't require a licensed agent. It's just going to be an outreach person setting the appointment for the agent, who can then actually have a real conversation with that person, helping them grow and helping them take care of their policies. Because what most people don't really understand is insurance, yes, it's mandatory. Yes, it's something that you need in case something happens. But what it's really doing is taking care of everything that you've worked for. So you put your heart and soul into buying your house, buying your cars, putting your kids into college. And if something were to happen to anything like that, like your house or your car, can you pull that cash out of your bank account and take care of what you need to? And if you could, do you want to? And what else is that going to detract from that's going to really pull you backwards? So insurance is there to keep you going forward. And if we have AI systems in place to help drive that and ask the right questions, because there are some agents who are just uncomfortable asking some of the questions they have to ask to get that client to the right policy. If you're asking questions the right way, you should be putting someone in the right policy, getting them the higher liability limits because they need it. You need to be getting them an umbrella. You need to be doing everything from that standpoint. So before you ever talk to that prospect, the AI is going to know exactly what their net worth is, how much we need to protect, how do we need to cover them, what carrier is going to be a best fit, because we looked at the type of house they have. We looked at their vehicles. We know that this carrier is taking care of these people right now, but this carrier is not. And you're going to know all that ahead of time, and it's going to shorten that sales window so that the people buying insurance now, they get to actually have a conversation with you. You can can ask real questions about their family and how they're growing, what's happening in their life, so you can actually do your job to protect them. And then you'll be able to take that time, get to know them, make sure you stay up with them. AI is just gonna make everything a lot better if you use it the right way. There are gonna be people who ruin it. There are gonna be people who are gonna do AI for everything, and then regulation is gonna happen because somebody's gonna screw up, the AI is not gonna be trained properly, and somebody's gonna get in trouble. With the way I see it working is if you train it, you stay on top of it, you make sure it's answering questions properly, think of it as your license is on the line and that you are gonna be the one responsible. If you're doing that and you're training it the right way and you're not letting it search the internet, but you're putting your own training into it so that it can answer as if it's you, this is gonna be a golden opportunity for insurance brokers to take off and leave the rest of your competition in the past. So I've already covered this quite a bit, but AI systems are absolutely going to ensure timely and personalized engagement. So what's gonna happen is, let's do a comparison. Right now versus with AI. Right now, I have 50 prospects a week coming in that wanna buy insurance from me. On average, it takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to quote it, another 30 minutes to talk to a customer, and let's just say another 15 minutes for fluff in there in case something happens. So I'm talking about an hour a week with a prospect to bind a policy, and that's not even talking about the afterwards, submitting it, putting all your documentation together, making sure everything's in properly. Let's just for ease sake, let's say it's an hour per prospect. So now you're talking about 50 hours a week just talking to prospects and converting them to customers, and then that's not even talking about the service work or the marketing that happens to drive those 50 leads in. So what AI is gonna do is it's gonna take that service work on the back end, and instead of that client having to wait because you as a salesperson, because that's, let's just face it, all you are as an insurance agent is a salesperson selling an insurance policy, and your job is to help make sure that the client gets the right policy. You do not want to do service work on the back. If you did, you would have gone and signed up to be a service agent at a company and you just take care of service work. You want to sell because you want to make more money and you want to take care of more people. So what AI is going to do is it's going to take care of that service work on the back end so that you can do the front end stuff. So now that 50 hours a week hasn't changed, but the other pieces have. So we're talking about now taking that AI system and it's going to prospect for you. So somebody watched a piece of content that you put out, somebody saw a post that you made, somebody filled out a form that you had put out there for a funnel, and they want to buy insurance from you. They want to get a quote from you. And now you have to talk to them. Well, how many times do you get on the phone with somebody and they're like, that's too expensive, I'm going with Geico? Because let's face it, insurance is a commodity. And especially here in North Carolina where I'm licensed, it is regulated by a rate bureau. So everybody pays into a pool. If the insurance company goes insolvent or leaves the state, as a lot of them have lately, now your job is to shop them again, because they're going to take care of that customer if they have a claim, but they're also going to drop that customer if they leave the state because they're not writing here. So you have to go back, rewrite that policy. Gives you a great opportunity to have another touch point with your prospect or your client, but it's more work. It's going to take away from these new leads that are coming in. How are we going to minimize that time? Have your AI reach out. Hey, this carrier is leaving the state. We would love to reshop you. Give us some information. Has anything changed? Blah, blah, blah. Is there anything else we need to know? Grab that information, quote it on the back end, or if you have systems like I have, you can actually go in and you can quote multiple carriers at a time and have that information that the client filled out in your AI conversation and have it automatically sent over to the quoter, have it quote it, have it emailed to you so you can review it, make sure everything is good. Then you can take it back to the prospect. You just took that from 30 minutes to quote down to 30 seconds to look at the coverages. And now you can have a real conversation with the client going over everything. Hey, has anything changed? Is this where you need to be? And I've said that a lot in this video, right? Has anything changed? Because that is the biggest thing that insurance brokers miss is, has anything changed? Because they're so busy and they're taking care of all this service work and they're just trying to get this quote done to get it, keep you and maintain that customer. And I still have all these people over here who are reaching out to me for quotes. And now what happens is you get to have a real conversation. You get to slow down a little bit. You get to enjoy that conversation with that prospect, that client. You get to know them. There's no better feeling in the world than knowing your clients and actually enjoying when that phone rings, you're like, oh, hey, Steve's calling. I love Steve. Let's have a call. Hey, what's up, Steve? How you doing, man? And you actually get to enjoy that conversation. You get to know each other on a deeper level. That's what my aim is with AI, implementing AI in businesses, is to allow people to connect more, because AI is taking care of the things that, quite frankly, you don't want to do anyway. I didn't want to do it as an agent. I hated filling out the back end paperwork. I hated having to reach out to people for claims. Because, quite frankly, I didn't know if the claim was going to be bought or not, because the insurance carriers have been going through a struggle. That's why I got out of the business, because I didn't know whether or not the carriers were actually going to take care of it. So for me, whenever they started going through some struggles as an industry, I'm like, this is ruining my reputation. I got to get out. And what this will do is this is going to allow the insurance carriers to minimize time, to be more profitable. And it's also going to allow the agents to be more profitable, which will allow people to be more consistent and stable in their agencies, which will be better for the consumer on the insurance side in the long run. One of the really cool places places. I'm glad you brought up referral partners. One of the really, really cool places that we can really implement AI is nurturing your referral partners. Hey, mortgage broker over here, how you doing? Can I help you with anything? Do you need anything from me? How are your clients doing? Are they getting the insurance they need to be able to close on time? I know with my AI systems, I can help turn this around. Let me see if I can help you. Do you need my AI to reach out and grab some documents? In fact, one of the things that we built is a mortgage. My friend Brandon used to say all the time, he got into the business before he can even spell mortgage, which has a little bit more to it. But what's really cool about this is we've actually created a processor for mortgage too. So we have everything that you need to track down documents from the client. So as an insurance broker, what I would do is say, hey, I'm going to take this AI bot and I'm going to train it on your process and I'm going to give it to you. But in exchange, I want the lead flow coming in. If you're getting people in, I'm giving you a processor, which is going to save you 30, 40,000 a year. Send me the leads. I'll take care of them. I'll make sure they're good. And you have my AI system. And now you can leverage it to really help your referral partners grow. And if you do that with one, you can do it with 10, you can do it with 100, and you can start bringing in leads and you can scale, you can hire agents. Now you're contributing to the economy in the mortgage industry and the insurance industry, and you're taking care of a lot more people in the insurance world by making sure that things are done properly. So this is where I really see AI going, is it's going to take care of the follow-up, it's going to take care of the chase, it's going to take care of all the tedious things, the back-end questions that you don't necessarily have time to answer, but you signed up for it. You sold that person that they're going to get an answer. And so what it's going to do is it's going to condense that time for the client asking questions as well. One of the biggest things that I had happen as an insurance broker, I'd get a referral from a mortgage company. I'd be busy with all the leads coming in. This person tries to get a hold of me. I text them, say, hey, I'll get back with you tomorrow on this. Look at it, because I just don't have enough time to deal with this and all this stuff at the same time. I have to allocate that time. Now AI is going to condense that. It's not going to say, hey, let me get back to you tomorrow. It's just going to give them an answer. And if it doesn't have an answer, then it kicks over to me. And if I have time, I can answer, because now I've freed up all that extra time. And if I don't have time, now it can go there. But we have 2 extra steps that happen before you ever even get into the, hey, let me get back to you tomorrow with that. So me as a consumer, if I can get a direct answer right now, I don't care if it's AI or if it's human. If it's the right answer, I want it now. It doesn't matter. So one of the hardest things as a broker to do is to remember what carrier guidelines are what, and they change all the time. As a carrier goes through its ebbs and flows, it's going to say, we're not accepting trampolines anymore, or we're not accepting roofs that are more than 10 years old, or we're not accepting this or that. They're meeting state guidelines to say, hey, you have to have these standards, and then they're going above and beyond and saying, hey, we can't be profitable if we just hit state guidelines, so we have to enact our own overlays on top of that so that we can make sure we don't bring on business that we don't want, that's then going to cost our entire group of policyholders in the long run. We're going to hold off, and we're not taking this bucket of prospects right now. We're only sticking to this bucket, this bucket, this bucket, and these are gone. So what's going to happen with this is it's going to help with the internal carrier guidelines. So instead of going in and looking at every single carrier, even if I went through and I organized all the carrier guidelines and I put them into a system, like my old brokerage that I worked for, I had a franchise with them. They had put together this amazing carrier guideline database on the back end, and all I had to do was search for a carrier, and then I had to read through everything and figure out, oh, is this here, is this here, is this here? And then I had a little comparison chart, which was great. But imagine having a personal Google machine that you can go and you can say, is this covered and what carriers cover it? Boom, it spits it out. Now I know these 3 carriers cover it. I can quote in those 3. And if my rater comes back and it gives me all of these carriers, I know these are the 3 that I'm actually looking at. The rest of these are not going to go, because what happens in the insurance world, we all know it. You're watching this video because you're an insurance broker and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You go in, you get a great quote from this carrier, and then you go to bind it and it's like, oh, not eligible because of this, this, or this. And you're like, I just wasted 30 minutes of my life quoting this. It looked great, and then I go to bind it and nothing. And in some cases, if you're not doing it the right way, you didn't go to bind before you talk to the client. So then you talk to them and you're like, hey, here's the rate. You go to bind, and then all of a sudden, bye, can't do it. Now you got to call that client back and say, I'm so sorry. It's going to be $300 more a year than what I told you. This carrier denied it. When in reality, if you'd have had the time and had done your due diligence, you'd have seen that that carrier wasn't going to write it anyway. No matter how good the quote looks, they don't have all the information until you put it through the application process and then you bind it. That's when it tells you. You have to get to that last page on the policy application, bind it, and then it's going to say approved or not. I did that every single time I went through the application before I ever talked to my clients. This is going to allow you to know which carriers are going to accept before you go to the application process and waste your time. Going to make you more efficient. That's really what I see, is it's going to help you be more efficient to understand what carriers are offering what, which ones are not accepting what risks, and you're going to be able to bind it a lot faster, saving yourself time, making more money, and providing a better experience for your customers. Yeah, so going back to the client side, you're prospecting, you're trying to bring on the best clients that you can that are going to stay with you for a long time, because because we all know in the insurance world, residuals are the power, right? I want to keep a client as long as possible. There are metrics at every carrier that talk about how sticky a client is. And if you bind auto, home, life, it gets X amount stickier. I think like an auto policy typically lasts a year to 2. Auto and home lasts 3 to 5. Auto, home, and life lasts 7 and above. So if you can get all of those policies, you can keep somebody on your books for 7 to 10 years. So now we're talking about, instead of making $160 or $250, multiply that by 7, multiply that by 10. And now you've just made a lot more money in your business that you didn't have to worry about, because AI would go down and it trickles through and it funnels them down and it says, hey, I don't want clients that are in this bucket. I want clients that are in this bucket. And it's not targeting clients based on who I don't want on demographic. It's targeting based on answers they give you. How loyal are they? What do they like to do with their carriers? Do they jump ship every year, or do they like to stick around? Like, what kind of clients do you want? And if they like to jump carriers every year, that's not necessarily a bad thing. As a broker, I have multiple carriers. So what I'm going to do is say, hey, instead of going elsewhere and shopping everything, let me shop everything for you. Typically, I want you to stay on for 3 years because you get the best longevity discounts, because every carrier gives you a discount based on how long you stayed with the previous carrier. And typically 3 years is the max. So once you get to that 3-year mark, shop them. And if anything drastic happens in between that 3-year mark, shop them. They're going to stay with you a lot longer. And what this is going to do is that AI is going to look at the analytics, and you can set different parameters like, hey, this person had a 20% jump in their premium. We need to shop them. We need to make sure that they're not paying more than they have to for this insurance, because again, insurance is a commodity. If you're not shopping them, they will shop it themselves. Provide your value by being there and saying, hey, I know the coverages you need, but I also have the carriers you need. Let me shop it for you and let's find a better option. That's really where I think AI is going to lead to analytics that are going to change the world from that perspective. I mean, AI is going to change every industry, but insurance is one that I'm very passionate about, one that I know very, very well. I was in it for over a decade, and AI can drastically change a lot of this stuff. A lot of people have been doing this in automations, but this is predictive automations. It can look into the future based on past analytics, and it's going to help you not only find the right clients, but it's going to help you predict the right coverages going forward based on their trajectory. It's going to be really, really nice. So AI is going to end up, instead of me calling and saying, hey, your policy's up for renewal in a month, my AI is going to send them a text, or it's going to call them, because we're working on voice. So eventually it's going to have a voice. And what it's going to do is say, hey, your policy's coming up for renewal. Do you want us to reshop it? Here's the rate that it's going up to. If you want to maintain the coverages, this is the difference, or it's not changing at all. If you want us to shop it, send us a yes or no. If you don't want us to shop it, cool, we'll leave it alone. But do you need anything else? How you doing? Do you want to set a call with Ross and have a conversation about your policy? Do you want to do just kind of an annual review and look at everything? And then it's going to get you people in to talk about annual reviews, giving you more opportunities to make sure that they're taken care of and buying more policies. It's going to be really good for the nurture campaigns, because then it's going to send you the list as the broker and say, I have this many people that need to be shopped. I have this many people who had questions. I have this many people who are good with staying where they are, but they want follow-up just to talk with you. Now you can bucket. You can put them in buckets. You can categorize. You can figure out what you want to do. One of the biggest things I struggled with as an insurance broker was setting my schedule and sticking with it, right? Because as soon as somebody calls in, it's like, oh, let me get you that quote. Okay, I start working on it. I drop whatever I'm doing over here because this person needs a quote. And if I don't get to them, they're going to call the guy down the street and he's going to get to them. So I have to stop what I'm doing and I have to quote this. So what AI is going to do is it's going to allow you to set that follow-up on the back end. What I would personally do is schedule out specific days, so that today, this is just follow-ups with clients, maintaining relationships, making sure they don't need anything, making sure they're good, knowing where they are in life, figuring out if there's anything that they don't necessarily understand needs to be changed, but you as the professional can say, oh, hey, you just had a baby. We need to look at this. Or you just bought a new car. We need to do this. And you take it and you be the professional now. And you go and you have that relationship and you maintain it and you make sure they're protected because you care about the people you have as clients. The next step would be, this day is new policy sales, which really you should block out every single day at certain times. And then you can set your calendar to these things and block. This calendar is for new sales. This calendar is for follow-ups. This calendar is blah, 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 X, Y, Z. And you can set up as many blocks as you want. And that's where AI is going to come in and help you with that nurture campaign. So now I'm going to answer some Q&As that I've gotten from some of my insurance brokers who have implemented the AI systems that we put in. And I want to make sure I answer them for you. Can AI-driven tools help in personalizing follow-up communications with prospects? And if so, how? Absolutely. Follow-up communication, I just said it actually in this video. The follow-up communication is key because it's going to have a conversation. So as you go through, AI is going to have those leading conversations, getting all the tedious stuff out of the way, and then it's going to send them a link to book your calendar. And it's going to be able to go down a path. Is it this calendar, this calendar, this calendar? Where did I have my times blocked out? Where's this conversation going? Which bucket did they fall in? I'm going to schedule them on this, or if they don't want to schedule right now, I'm going to send them a link so they can schedule themselves. That's how AI is going to help with communication on the back end. What strategies can we employ using AI to re-engage past clients and encourage their return? This is a really good question. So this is one that I would absolutely have a specialized campaign for with a specialized AI that's going to be trained, and it's going to know the policies they had. Hey customer, I saw that you left our company because of this price increase, because of this bad claims experience. Here are the things that we've done to help change the claims experience. Here are the things that we've done to make sure that we have more carriers to give you a better price. Here are the things that we do to X, Y, and Z. Letting clients know that you have improved your processes or you've improved your carrier offering so that you can offer better prices. So now you can bring people back in, keeping it under your roof as the broker instead of having them under the guy down the street. How can AI aid in nurturing and retaining our current client base, especially in terms of personalized engagement? So this is really cool. So here's what I would do. I would set up a midway through the policy, whether it's a 6-month or 12-month policy, and say, hey, how you doing? Is there anything we need? Have you make sure that if your taxes happen, and especially you can time this up around the tax time when the homeowner's insurance is going to be paid by the escrow or the taxes are coming out and you have to worry about the assessment. One thing I would touch base is, hey, has your mortgage increased this month or this year? Whatever you want to say on that. If so, 2 places are where it can happen. It can happen with your insurance policy and it can happen with your taxes. Check your taxes. Here's the link to the county where you live. Check your house. And if you want to go a step further, you can actually look up their house, see the taxes, and say, hey, your taxes increased. Check with your mortgage. You're going to see an increase in your payment. If you would like, I can reshop your insurance to try to offset that and get it lower. Or if you're happy with the insurance coverage where it is, you don't want to look at it, just let me know. I want to check on you and make sure you know. Middle of the policy, kind of tracking for taxes and increases in mortgage. And then you can also even go back to the mortgage broker who referred them to you and say, hey, this might be a good time for a refi. They're seeing a tax increase. I don't know where rates are right now. I'm not the mortgage professional, but maybe it's a good time to reach out to the client and see if they want to refi. Now you're going to increase your referral business over there and you're going to continue to grow, and you gave everybody a better experience. That's what I would do. And then the next step would be implementing a renewal, like 1 to 2 months advance. As soon as you get that renewal notice into your agency, have AI know it, like set up an automation. Hey, here's my automation flow. All these clients have renewals coming up. Track and see the percentages of rate changes. If there's none, just send out a message saying, hey, you're up for renewal. We didn't see much change. We don't recommend reshop, but if you want us to, let us know. Feel free to reach out anytime to have a conversation, and then it can start the conversation. The other thing would be, hey, you had a blah, blah, X amount increase, 20, 30, 40, 50% increase in your insurance premium. I think it's time for us to shop. Now you're proactively doing it. You're not waiting for them to come to you. You're going to them and you're being the professional saying, I've got the solution for you. Let's go find it. Those are the ways that I would maintain and keep my clients growing in my book of business.